The idea of this is that session is actually that we are able to sort of help you to, or obviously broker that connection between the university and your business, for you to equally understand how you can benefit from basically having a sort of not only a connection to the university from all sort of knowledge base, but equally to understand how a student could add value, or graduate, or an alumni effectively can add value to your business. So without further ado, I just wanted to hand over to Alice, but also to thank you for your time as well in coming to join us today. It's massively appreciated.
Thanks, Yuan. Okay, so let's get things started. So welcome everybody. I'm Alice Burke and I'm a Futures Connect project officer from Cardiff University. In today's event, I'm going to discuss, as Yuan said, about how our students and graduates can support you to grow your business. And there are a number of things that I'm going to talk through. First, I'll start off with an introduction just to get you familiar with the Futures Connect team here at the university. We'll look at why you should consider working with students and grads, really thinking about the, accessing skills and talent to grow the business, and also the benefits of developing links to the university. We'll look at what types of work experience opportunities you can offer to suit your business and your business needs. And I'll run through the process and how we can support you throughout the whole process, and what it's like to be working with us. I'll have some student and employer case studies that I can discuss with you, and I'll bring Yuan in at that point as well, so she can talk to you about her successful experience, and I'll also cover different ways you can engage with our students and the university outside of the work experience opportunities. As Lisa mentioned at the beginning, there'll be time for questions at the end, so feel free to pop them in the chat if you need to sort of make note of them as we go through, or feel free to answer them or to ask them at the end of the session. So some key things that I'd really like for you to take away from this event today. This event is for you to learn about the Futures Connect team, how we can support you with engaging with working with our students through work experience, and also linking with the university as well. So hopefully you'll be able to appreciate the benefits of offering work experience and how it can help the business. I know for a lot of businesses, it's always may seem, it's a bit more hassle than it's worth, or not really sure what's involved, that kind of thing. So hopefully you'll be able to, have a different perspective on that. Understand a bit more about the differences in the types of work experience opportunities to suit your business needs and the support available throughout the process. And I'm really hoping that you'll come away from this event to consider perhaps offering work experience as a method of developing that strong pipeline of talent, and also understand, the great opportunity it is to build a relationship with the university. And of course, something that's really important for me is for you to know that the Futures Connect team are here to help you all year round. So whether you're thinking about work experience now, or perhaps in a couple of months to come, if you've got any ideas, if you're not sure if it'll fit in line with perhaps some of the things that I'm going to discuss, then look, just get in touch and we are happy to have a conversation. So a little bit about Futures Connect at Cardiff University. So Futures Connect is part of Student Futures, which we were up until last year known as Careers and Employability. Now, we are based in the wonderful new Centre of Student Life on Park Place, which has replaced the well-known red brick steps to the Students' Union. It's an amazing building. It's been, being built for a long time. It's been in the wings. We've been dying to get in there, but it's open, and it is open to the public. So if you are passing, feel free to pop in and have a look. It's brilliant in there. So that's where our team are based, and what our team does is we connect employers and students through work experience to really ensure that our students go on and get the best possible graduate employment. So our team are a team of experienced project officers. We work with a wide range of businesses across Wales and afar, lots of local businesses as well, and these range, of various sizes, from small startups, SMEs, large organisations across a real range of industries and sectors. So we can support everybody. Our team, while we offer a tailored service to really accommodate a business needs, so we're really adverse in providing a consultative service, understanding your requirements, advising on options, and really helping you put that plan in place. So by engaging with Futures Connect, you'll be supported throughout the whole process. And that's one of the things I'll be, really highlighting as we go through, is about the support. You're not on your own. We are here to support you. We're employer facing, so we can be as, hands-on or as hands-off as you need. Our aim is really to make it as easy as possible for employers to offer career-related opportunities to our talented students. So by doing that, we manage all aspects of recruitment. So if you've got any recruitment places, anything already in place, we can, either create new or work around them. We can be totally flexible. And we support by taking in applications, setting up interviews, advertising roles widely on our jobs board through newsletters, and really utilising our links across the university with, careers advisors and academics. As mentioned, we do work all year round, so we can also give guidance on what, the best time to advertise opportunities, if there are specific points that are really good to aim for in the year, and that we can also discuss funding possibilities as well. We are centrally based within the university, so engaging with our team can be a really great way to build a strong link and relationship with the university. And we can also advise on any other activities or projects you can get involved with that I'll touch upon later in this session. So why offer work experience? Some of you here today might have already offered work experience, are familiar with it, haven't even, touched it before, don't even know where to start. And we find that there's lots of different reasons why in businesses engage with us for work experience. And typically a lot of the businesses that we work with start with, a bit of work experience and have continued working with us beyond that for years and years and years. We've got really great relationship with our employers. So one of the main areas that businesses contact us and want to utilise work experience and work with our students is to gain help on an area of the business or perhaps a project. It is really popular, and I think this, is a really good reason to even just initially start thinking about it. These opportunities could be on a part-time basis around a student's timetable, flexibly, or could be for a larger chunk of time in the holidays. Skills are really important as well. So through offering work experience, it can really allow you to tap into student skills and knowledge. Our students are from a range of courses across the university, from the business school to journalism, media, computer science, just to name a few. So some students, have got really great skills that they're learning from their studies, and even perhaps skills from previous work experience that they could bring to your business. Ideas, our talented grads and students can bring fresh ideas to your business, a new perspective, and I know this is something that I've recently spoken to a business, and this is one of the main reasons why they love just getting students through the doors, because they challenge, they ask questions, and they bring in a new perspective. So if this is something your business could benefit from, then work experience could be a great opportunity for that. Work experience also is used for growth. Now I work with a lot of SMEs, startups, and it can be a really great stepping stone. If you're thinking about, growing your business, starting with work experience can be a brilliant option. You can really almost use the schemes that I'll discuss in a bit to use them as an extended interview to really get to know a student or grad, to see if you want to work with them beyond the work experience. It's a really nice way to kind of test the waters, both for you and the student as well, to see if, they're interested with working with you, and build up that talent pipeline. That is another reason why we find that lots of businesses work with us, is to scout new talent and build that talent pipeline before students graduate. So we find that, once students graduate and they fly the nest, to sort of capture their engagement, or for you to promote your brand as a prospective employer, can be that much more difficult. So if you can engage with students earlier on whilst they're studying, where they can come and join you for a bit of work experience, that transition into a graduate role can be much more as a sort of fluid approach. let me move down, sorry. Another reason as well is to trial. So work experience can be really handy to trial a role, perhaps if you have a role in mind, but also want to see how it could work within a business. And work experience can be a really short-term and inexpensive sort of solution to identifying a business need. And most importantly for us, one of the reasons why we're so keen to support businesses with offering work experience is to really give our students the experience and knowledge that they need to compete for those competitive jobs, and to build up the skills and knowledge that they practice to secure the graduate job roles. So there's lots of reasons there why offering work experience is beneficial. What I'm going to do now is run through the 3 main types of opportunities that we promote. They do move in a kind of stepping stone process, which can be really helpful for you to identify how you can work with us and build up that talent pipeline. So the first type of opportunity we advertise is an insight. It is what it says on the tin. It's an insight into an industry, business or sector for perhaps a student, but it's also an insight for perhaps a business who hasn't taken on anybody for work experience before, and you just want to test the waters and see what it's like. This is classic work experience. It's a mixture of learning and doing, and there is some form of supervision required for this, but also for other opportunities as well. The Futures Connect team, we are really keen to generate and offer more insight opportunities to students, so that they have the opportunity to gain experience, to be more competitive for paid opportunities, and especially because an insight can be that initial foot in the door and can be great to be used as that extended interview, perhaps for a paid internship. So if you're thinking, you might have an internship in mind, but you're not quite sure, an insight can be a really good way to, work with a student, suss out if they've got the skill set that you need, or perhaps even if that role exists, and then you can utilize that and step into a paid internship. Our paid internship opportunities are as competitive as graduate roles, and quite often some paid internships require an element of experience on them. So insights are the opportunity for students to get that work experience to be competitive for the paid internships. So our insights are suitable for all students at all levels of study, and we've got a range of courses that students can be studying, including recent graduates as well. And we find that our insight opportunities are really quite appealing to students who haven't perhaps got any work experience before, or perhaps it's their first sort of stepping stone into gaining experience into a specific sort of role or business type. Our insights are between 35 and 70 hours. Now, these can take place flexibly around the timetable, which is typically more popular. So perhaps if a student has a Wednesday afternoon free, or a Friday morning, or a full day on a Thursday, we would take a lead from the students around the timetable. These are extracurricular opportunities, and there's something that we are recruiting now for across the spring term and as we sort of move into the summer. So they are more popular around the student's timetable, but you could also look at offering a week block perhaps in the summer, or 2-week block in the summer. So insight opportunities can be office-based, remote or hybrid. We're mindful that businesses are operating very differently now to how they were pre-pandemic. All of our insights would have been in the office with local businesses, but actually with companies working from home and remote working and hybrid working, it's really opened some doors to, offer insights, perhaps not in the local area, a bit further afield, but that students can get involved with. So if that is something, if there is an opportunity for an element of hybrid working, or at least students coming into the office to see where you would typically work, then that can be really beneficial. But it's not the end of the world if they can't. Insights are unpaid, and this is why there's a cap on the number of hours that they can join you. Anything beyond the 70 hours, then they would need to transfer into an internship, and this is a really straightforward process. Because they are unpaid, we would expect any expenses to be that are incurred to be covered by the business. So perhaps if they are coming to the office, covering their travel or lunch, just so that they're not out of pocket. And we always ask for feedback as well. It's really important to us. So once a student's joined you, you will be required to fill out, really short form of feedback to complete, just so we can learn, how you found the experience and if there's anything we can do to improve that for you. So as mentioned, Insight, fab if you haven't taken on any particular work experience before, you just want to start that stepping stone. And again, really helpful for that extended interview for further paid internships. Now, should you want to offer a paid internship, this is the next type of work experience opportunity that we advertise. They, again, suitable for students at all levels of study, students from a range of courses, including recent graduates as well. We've got, we quite often have a lot of summer internships and paid internships for recent graduates or students who are just finishing their final year now and will be moving into graduation now in the summer. And as paid opportunities, then these students can be expected to have a reasonable amount of responsibility and can really bring the skills that they've learned through their studies or perhaps other work experience to the business. So these internships can be anything from 35 hours up to 12 weeks. They can take place now, they're happening now, flexibly around the timetable, or in the summer. And that's when you've got that really big chunk of time for them to join you. You aren't limited to, 12 weeks. This is typically sort of the max sort of time frame that a student would have in the summer. But obviously you can carry on working with them beyond that. That's kind of just a almost cut-off point for us to perhaps have a conversation to if you're going to continue working with them beyond that point. They are paid opportunities. So the hourly rate for an internship is typically £9.90 an hour, and that is in line with a real living wage. But it does need to be at least the national minimum wage for the student. And all interns should be treated as an employee, and so should receive benefits as per your normal policies. So including, annual leave and sick leave. And you as a business would need to organise payment for the student. So they'd need to be set up as PAYE and not freelance. Again, we appreciate that lots of businesses have moved remotely. So these opportunities can be office, virtual, hybrid. And again, if they can come into the office for that extra bit of experience, that's brilliant. Feedback is also required as well. And as these are, paid opportunities over a longer period, you should really, students should be really able to get their teeth stuck into a project. It's really great for you to know and for students to be able to demonstrate their knowledge and build upon their skill set with you. And so lots of businesses really use this to kind of initially, scope out if that student is going to be offered perhaps further work beyond that. Sometimes we do have funding available for startups and SMEs to take on students' work experience. So by engaging with us and perhaps offering an insight or an internship, it would put you in a really good position to access some funding when it becomes available. It's also worth noting, as I mentioned before, that graduates use internships as well. So I know that was one of the key things about this event, was highlighting about students and graduates. So all these opportunities are for students and graduates, and students and graduates can access our jobs board, graduates for 2 years after they graduate as well. There is another type of opportunity that we advertise, and I'll whiz through this one. It's a professional placement year. Some of you may know it as a sandwich year or year in industry. And so we've got a number of courses across the university that offer a year in industry or a professional placement year as part of their course. Computer science, business school, engineering, chemistry, and there's quite a few others as well. So how these work then is they're credit bearing. So whereas insights and internships are extracurricular opportunities, as students who have got a bit of get up and go and want to capture some work experience around their timetable, these are opportunities that are counted towards part of their course. So typically for undergraduates, they're between 9 and 12 months. And for master's students, we've got some courses that I've highlighted there in the red box of between sort of 7 and 12 months. These opportunities typically start between July and September. They don't tend to start any earlier than that because students have to make sure that they've passed their year and they don't have any resits before they can progress into a professional placement year. So July is the earliest that they can join you. And again, these need to be paid opportunities. So as per internships, you would need to organise payment for the student. We have businesses all around the UK offering placement years for our students. Some students stay in Cardiff, some students may stay at home, some students completely relocate and gain some experience for the year elsewhere. So if this is of interest, then and you're not sure perhaps if a course offers it, then have a little look at the Cardiff University website. It's really, really good for you to sort of identify what courses have placements and not. And as we are sort of account manager, we will help with these as well. So although they sit in within the curriculum, and there are placement officers who will be in contact with you and sort of keep in contact with the student as well, we can initially help set these up for you. So loads of information there about the different types of opportunities. But what happens next should you want to start the ball rolling and think about offering some sort of work experience to our students? So if you are interested in what I've spoken so far, then please get in touch. I've got my details on at the end. What will happen is a Futures Connect officer will get in touch with yourself to book in a short meeting to have a discussion about your options, about your ideas, your needs, and run through the process and put a plan in place, answering any questions that you may have. And they will become your main contact at the university for work experience opportunities. In that meeting, what they'll do is they'll run through a couple of different forms that are typically required for you as a business to complete to get you up and running. So a pre-placement form typically used to create an employer profile on the jobs board, employees liability insurance that's required, and an advert template. Now, advert template is your opportunity to really think about what you want to get out of the work experience, as well as what the students is going to get out of the work experience. And it's really there to, help you define and pinpoint what is it they're going to be getting involved with, what are they going to be helping you with, how long are they going to be joining you, are you going to be offering an insight, what are they going to get done between 35 and 70 hours, or are you offering an internship where they can join you for a big chunk of time, what can they get involved with? So this is your time to talk about your business as well. So who you are, what you do, what the role is about, what's involved, who they'll be working with, and what they'll be working on. It's your opportunity to highlight if there's a particular skill set that you're looking to tapping into, whether it could be a really great opportunity for perhaps a student with an interest in, or a student studying this. And, just as a student's CV is their chance to promote them, this is your chance to promote you and what you do as a business. So we can provide, obviously, sort of templates and guidance of similar opportunities we've advertised, but really have a think about, what would be interesting to students and what it is that they need to know about the role. With students, you do need to be quite black and white. So at this stage, you really want to be giving them as much information as possible so that they know that what you are, what they're applying for. What happens then is when the role is ready, it is shared by your project officer and advertised on our jobs board, in our newsletters, on LinkedIn, via careers advisors, and out to any targeted cohorts as well. So we really, really promote your opportunities well. We typically advertise for around 3 weeks with a closing date on a Sunday to give students that last sort of weekend to get their applications in. But we can be really flexible with this. We have peaks and troughs with student engagement depending on what time of year it is. So, if we find that we need to close it early, quite often law opportunities, as soon as it's advertised, we get bombarded by applicants. So quite often they certainly don't get advertised for 3 weeks, but there are some other opportunities, especially if they're quite unique or niche, that might take a little bit longer, and that 3 weeks turnaround is absolutely fine. What happens as well is students apply with us to their CVs and cover letters. So once they're live, you guys don't have to do anything. We take in applications, they go to the project officer in the form of a CV and cover letter. And it's after the closing date then that the project officer will get in touch, share the application with you to review, and can help sort of give you the information that is required for you to shortlist for interview. project officer will organise all the interviews for you. So all you need to do is say, look, so and so, these are the students I'd like to shortlist. This is the time, this is the date. We're going to do it on Zoom. Can they come to the office? And they help organise those for you as well. So it's really only at the point where you are ready to offer or you're introduced via the start email that you are going to sort of officially be connected to that student and where that correspondence can start. So we're really trying to make it the recruitment element as easy as possible. In that start email, there will be an agreement form that we need signed by yourself and the student before the work experience commence. But it also highlights as well that, you know, your project officer is there to support you and they're there to support the student. So should either of you have any queries or questions or anything during that opportunity, there's somebody there, you know, to support. That's what we're here for. And as mentioned in, you know, in the previous schemes, feedback will be required for each opportunity. And for some opportunities, we quite like to create some case studies as well, and they can be really good for marketing and really lovely for students. You know, they get shared on LinkedIn and can be great promotional collateral for, you know, further opportunities that you might have. So as you can see, there's, you know, loads of support there, and your project officer will guide you through absolutely everything, prompt you at each stage of if they need anything for you and what's next. And there's lots of support throughout for both yourself and the student. So I've cobbled together some you know, frequently asked questions. We work with lots of employers, and, you know, we do find that some of the similar questions come up time and time again. So you might have some of these, you know, in mind, but if you've got any others, please ask, and we can discuss at the end. So what type of opportunities can I advertise? So we are really looking for career related opportunities. So we wouldn't have, you know, work experience, you know, working behind a till. We're thinking about opportunities that can really support a student's studies. So thinking about perhaps research, considering projects, thinking about what they're learning, you know, are there any particular student skill sets or knowledge that you're targeting? And this can be quite broad, as mentioned. We've got students across such a wide range of courses at the university. That leads on quite nicely to, you know, are there any specific job areas to target? And, you know, again, our students are available, you know, from all levels of study, you know, so it could be that a student from engineering joins a company on site and has, you know, a really hands-on work experience, or a business student might join a HR team, or perhaps it might be that, you know, a business engages with computer science to, you know, really tap into some technical skills. So if you're wondering about what courses, as I mentioned, initial sort of one-stop shop is the Cardiff Uni website. It's really helpful, but also have a chat with us, you know, have a chat with your project officer, see if they can give you a bit of guidance as well. You know, they've got lots of expertise in areas and lots of experience of working with different types of opportunities for businesses. Is there a good time or bad time to advertise? So we work all year round, and your project officer would be able to guide you on this. And, you know, we do work to an academic calendar. Our students have got academic timetables that they're working towards. So we do find that there are peaks and troughs with student engagement, and there are some better times to add you know, certain opportunities. So how it typically works is in the autumn term, students come back on campus, so sort of October with enrolment and freshers. And we find it does take a little while, you know, for students to really, you know, settle in and get their timetables. And this is why we typically sort of host careers fairs and really sort of build brands on campus and you know, show the students who we are and what we do as a, you know, support for the students. And so in autumn term as well, typically if we're going to advertise work experience, insights are a bit more popular, that are, you know, flexible around the student's timetable. But what we do see is, you know, larger recruiters advertising placement years and graduate schemes. And from a careers point of view, and working with students and sort of knowing, you know, where they are within their studies, is it is quite early to be, you know, capturing students who have, you know, who are looking for placement years, because they've just come back to uni, they're just starting to do their careers, you know, CV sessions and things, ready to apply for placement. So autumn can be quite a, you know, more time for insights, I would say, to actually take place. Rather than sort of internships. Spring after exams is when we start seeing things ramp up. Again, for insights, we're hosting lots of career events, employer events, you know, really trying to drum up interest for insights, but also summer internships start trickling in, and also placement years and graduate schemes too. So now is spring term, we've had a wild couple of weeks hosting, you know, lots of careers events. So the timing is really good for now. If you're thinking about it, then, you know, you've not missed the boat at all. It's a really good time too. And as we move into summer, so students have their exams sort of, you know, May, June time, we still, you know, we start having students out on placement for, you know, the summer opportunities and things like that. We still have employers, you know, advertising placement years and graduate opportunities. So, you know, we advertise all year round. That's why we say we work all year round, and we'll just give you guidance about the time of the year and what's happening at that point. Can you advertise more than one work experience opportunity? Yes, you absolutely can. We have some employers who have got, you know, a student out on the field, as mentioned, with engineering, and somebody else in their office as project management. The main thing that we really promote is that you've got the capacity to support the student. So all of these students who join you are going to need an element of support. And the last thing we want is for you to take on too many students and then think, oh gosh, you know, this is too much hassle, this is, you know, more work than we expected. You know, it's got to be beneficial for you so that it'll be beneficial for the student. So yes, you can advertise as many as you like, but just make sure that you're not going to take on too much and it's going to impact the business. Can you, you know, do you have to liaise with students? As mentioned before, no. Once, you know, we do as much of that as possible. So it's only really once you've made an offer and the student accepts, should you be invited to pick up correspondence with the students. So we manage all the sort of student engagement from our side. Can you carry on working with the student afterwards? Yes, you absolutely can. And as says there, you know, it would be music to our ears if you want to do so. That's really, you know, proving that you are utilising the service, you know, of working with students and building that pipeline up. So if you do want to do that, just speak to your project officer and they can support you with, you know, making it more official from that side. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't happen often, but if a work experience needs to you know, finish early, you just need to let us know as soon as you can. If you are accessing funding at that point, you would just be able to access the amount for the completed hours of that the student has done. So that's, you know, these things happen, that's absolutely fine. If you advertise an opportunity and, you know, you find that candidates aren't appointable, it doesn't happen often, but it can be a conversation, again, that you have with your project officer. So it could be that you think, do you know what, let's change the advert. You know, your project officer might highlight something that they might think maybe that could be putting students off. Or it could be that you think, do you know what, in the time that we've advertised, things have changed a little bit. We might advertise a different role, or you're going to put it on pause. So it's just a conversation that you can have, and we'll support you with that. And can you help with other types of work experience? I've mentioned that previously, but if and all the different types of opportunities in this session that you can offer. But if you know, if you're not quite ready for work experience, that's absolutely fine. As mentioned, this is the main reason for this scheme today, and the session, sorry, is for you to know that we are here whenever you need. So we work all year round, just bear us in mind and just get us in touch whenever you're ready. So we're nearly there. The nice bit, the case studies. So we, as mentioned, we worked with so many businesses you know, across the years. I've been in this job for 4 years, my colleagues some longer, and it's just such a lovely job. We've built up such lovely opportunities with local businesses that are a little bit further afield, with startups, SMEs, you know, larger companies, and we just love hearing how our students have got on and how we've supported them to grow. I'll introduce Shuan in a second, who can sort of give her input on how she's found the experience. But I've just pulled a couple of logos together of companies that we've worked with. So Circle IT came through us as a procurement lead for the university. Each year they offer around 10 insights with their tech team, with HR, project management, and they create almost like week-long events. Insights, where rather than sort of students coming in dribs and drabs, they create a project. Their team knows that these students are coming in for this time, and they give them, a real hands-on experience of working with that team. They've also accessed funding to offer a graduate internship, and that student is now employed with them. So they really utilise that to, get to know that student, and then was able to offer a graduate job at the end. Groundwork Wales, we've been working with them for years. They've currently got some environment standard insights that they're advertising. We support them with the Healthy River projects, and quite often they access funding for a summer internship for that Healthy River project. Lumen SEO, they're a fairly new company that I've been working with in the past 2 years. Started, as a startup based in Tramshed Tech. Started as a one-man band, taken on loads of students for work experience, and now have 3 of our students working as full-time members of staff. So they really, grown their business and utilised, using work experience as that sort of trial for new staff. Vertus Tech, they're an alumni business from the university. They've worked with the National Software Academy for live projects. They've taken on 5 students for internships. They've accessed some funding as well, and they currently have 2 graduates with them on full-time roles. We've got Lark Design Make. They've taken on Insights internships. All students who started with them on Insights are still working with them now. We've also got Terradat, Amplify. We've just worked with so many employers, and you can see that typically, if you engage with us, you get something out of it, as well as just the students, whether it's funding or whether it's growing your business. Then there's lots of support, and it's really successful. Shuan, do you want to have any input on your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had experience of all 3 sort of kinds of internships. So Insight, the 12-week internship, and also with the professional placement, or the professional sort of internship, which is obviously the 12-month program. So I'll start with the professional placement, or is that the right terminology, Alice? The one that sort of fits into an academic year of a student going out?
Yeah, professional placement year.
I'll start with that one. So whilst I was in management consulting, we actually worked really closely with the business management school, in particular with the Department for Procurement and Supply Chain. And the idea was that we had 2 internships based in London, actually, and we gained access to sort of what was then year 2, looking to sort of take out a placement in year 3, obviously for 4-year sort of undergraduate scheme. And we had probably about 15 different students altogether that sort of we had access to in order to run a sort of a competitive assessment process. And the school actually facilitated sort of not only the advertising of the sort of the placement, but also of raising the brand of the business, because it, again, sort of the likes of KPMG and Deloitte, etc. We were a very small boutique sort of professional advisory service that, in essence, students of would they be 19, 20, didn't really sort of know who we did, what we did, and that wow factor wasn't there. But the business school actually helped us to sort of raise the brand profile of the opportunity, and in fact, obviously highlight how our opportunity over and above the likes of sort of the big 4, that would give the business sort of study students in relation to sort of applying to our opportunity, which was amazing. And again, as Alice has said, those students went on to secure graduate programs, sort of trainees, sort of contracts as a result of it, and we had sort of great support from the placement team all the way through. Most recently, back in I would say probably April, May, Impact Innovation. I was watching sort of from afar. I didn't necessarily get involved in this. This was actually something that was managed by someone else in the company. But the way we engaged with the placement team was actually really innovative. So we actually wanted to do a bit of market research and market mapping of sustainable or green business support programs which are available to SMEs in the ecosystem. So we actually advertised the placement with Alice, and Alice was fantastic in giving us the guidance in terms of how to articulate what we wanted from the student, and equally sort of to be quite specific in terms of the outcomes that we wanted, so that we could almost measure the progress really. And we advertised the placement, and we actually got probably a short list of about 8 students, I think, altogether.
Yeah.
And we were faced with a bit of a challenge because ultimately we did have the opportunity at that time to secure funding. And that funding was sort of relative to almost the background of those particular students. So it was actually whether or not it was funded placements for particular students, and even graduates, so people who'd obviously been at Cardiff University but have subsequently graduated. And we found ourselves actually hiring 4 different types of students, all from various different backgrounds, which brought a very diverse insight to the actual piece of work that we needed to get done. So we had a business studies student, a chemistry student, who'd been working on the sustainability of chemicals in the house, etc., and had broadened her sort of research on independently into sustainable business. We also had a postgraduate student who was actually studying environmental management and looking at sustainability of coastal towns. And then finally, because obviously the advert went out to alumni as well, we actually got a geography student who had graduated 2 years ago but ultimately wanted to get into environmental consulting. And the value that we had from that sort of pool of candidates, because we had the insights for 2 weeks, and then we were able to retain the other 2 students for 12 weeks. The piece of work that we actually did was phenomenal. And I think the one sort of word that springs to mind is autonomous. The students were really low maintenance. They just got on with the job that we gave them, and as Alice said, ultimately they sort of were looking for pastoral care and guidance, and obviously we were there to ask questions, etc. But equally it was very they were very self-sufficient, I believe, and we ended up obviously with a very comprehensive report which has subsequently guided a lot of what the company is doing sort of going forward. So the value add was phenomenal. So obviously I've got an abundance of experience in terms of dealing with student placements, and happy to sort of transfer that knowledge to you, including the way that we interviewed and sort of sifted and created the adverts, etc. So happy to help you if that would help. Thanks,
Amazing.
Alice.
Fab. No, thanks, you. And it's always lovely to sort of hear the impact that it's had, and not just, you know, the students, and also the outcome of the piece of work as well. So yeah, that's why our job is so lovely. Thank you. I'll move on to, I think, is the last slide. Basically,
we've got a couple of questions in the chat as well. So
fab.
After this slide, we can maybe ping those questions across.
Yeah, no worries. I'll whiz through this. So just highlighting then, you know, as well as work experience, there are other ways you can engage with our students. I've highlighted some here. So skill sessions. So you could support with assessment centres, and really, you know, highlighting perhaps to some students, you know, how they can apply for your roles and things like that. We support panel events, so covering specialist topics. One we've got next week, this week, is Find Your Future in an Environmental Career. So WSP, Welsh Water, Tata Steel are all going to, you know, come and speak to our students and inspire them, who, you know, looking at incorporating the environment and sustainability sort of into their future. we've got lots of on-campus fairs. We have got the first one of the year. They've all been virtual up until now, but our first face-to-face careers fair is happening on Thursday, the 24th of March. So this is a really great way to get in front of students and build your brand on campus, as well as, you know, networking events as well. We host bespoke networking events. The School of Computer Science has just hosted a full Love to Work for week, which involved employer sessions and speed dating. So there's lots of kind of interactive things you can be getting involved with. Obviously, I've mentioned our jobs board. Our jobs board isn't just for insights and internships and placements. It's for junior and graduate jobs as well. So if as a business, you know, want to use that space to advertise your roles as you would with, you know, Total Jobs or Indeed, then get in touch, use that space on there. And also there's opportunity for live projects as well. So, you know, the National Software Academy and the Data Science Academy host live projects for businesses to work with students. So those are just a couple of things that, you know, you can get involved with. So if you do want any more information on those, please just let me know. And, you know, there could be other things in the university that I can sort of lead you to their services. So yeah, just give us a shout if you need to know more on them. And that's it. Yeah, so all done. Open to the floor for questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'll just go through some of the questions a second.
Yeah.
So expectations around salary benefits for professional placement year?
So it ranges depending on the type of course. And what the students are going to be getting involved with. As a you know, as a real living wage employer, Cardiff University would always sort of promote that £9.90 plus, you know, an hour. So that's something to consider. But it's a conversation where you can have with your placement officer as well to, you know, to gauge what other placements are being at, are advertising at. So yeah, that just give us a shout on that one.
Perfect. Timeline for professional placements?
So professional placement year, so they can be advertised from, you know, any time as early as October right through now into sort of the spring term, and lots are being advertised now. Obviously the later you advertise, the less students are looking, because quite often they've secured them, but students will join you at from July onwards, so they can start as late as September, and then obviously they're either the 9 to 12 months or 7 to 12 months as well.
Okay, good, great. Funding. Yes.
So with regards to funding, so each year our work experience team gets you know, access to funding from a range of different funding providers. Santander has provided funding to us, HEFQ, Higher Education Funding Council of Wales, have provided funding. Each year it changes, and I think, Siobhan, you highlighted on the caveat of how the funding you access had to be used. So sometimes they're match funded opportunities. Typically Santander are for SMEs to access, startups and SMEs. They're match funded, so you would pay 50% of a student's wage. With the HEFQ funding, that had to be, and that can be used for all students. The HEFQ funding that we received last year had to be used for graduates, and they had to meet a certain criteria. So each year it does differ slightly. We're advertising with for Cardiff members now, which is a 40% subsidy. So it just depends. And some years we have a big pot, other years it's a smaller pot. So
I think sorry to cut across you there.
No,
I think
okay.
my suggestion would be to connect to you, Alice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that way you're in the know. Obviously, if a business registers effectively their potential need with you, that triggers a conversation in your mind to think, oh, I'll pick up the phone to blah, 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 because this funding possibly could be applicable to them.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is, you know, the earlier you can engage with us, the more likely you're going to be able to access funding. So by, you know, by offering an unpaid insight, or by, you know, offering a paid internship, should funding become available, we're more likely to be able to say, well, we're working with this company, rather than just a company saying, have you got any funding for this? And we don't know who you are, we've not worked with you, that kind of thing. You know, we don't have masses of funding, so that building up that relationship first will really put you sort of in good stead for what we can offer, and you know, happy to have those sort of conversations.
Amazing. That's fantastic.
That's okay.
Okay. Any more questions then, just in the chat at all?
No, thanks for popping in my
email address. Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from this, obviously I'm conscious of time, the biggest takeaway for me for this is just connect, because you never know when you're going to sort of obviously have an opportunity, and it's about sort of building a relationship with Cardiff University, basically, that it's that sort of tripartite sort of piece of academia, industry, and obviously like government. And I think you're effectively sort of bridging the gap is what businesses need, and I think your team definitely does provide that, so that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Alice.
That's okay. We've all got our specialist areas as well. So, you know, your inquiry might come to me, but it might be that I introduce you to my colleague who works specifically with the law school, or, you know, a different colleague who works with, you know, bioscience or the business school, that, you know, so just get in contact and then we'll sort of support you from there onwards.
Great. Okay, excellent. Well, without further ado, if I could just say thank you so much for everything. And yeah, looking forward to sort of seeing how your businesses evolve and working with the university.
Fab.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.